Moving on to the second point. So important, it's often useful when you're working with third-party styling libraries that often work at the inline style level. And so using important helps to override those styling libraries. I'll probably show in a future video how to add a third-party styling library into your HTML project. Onto the third point, how to add multiple inline styles. So I did touch inline styling, but I didn't show how to add uh, multiple CSS declarations in the style attribute. So this is the style attribute here in the p HTML element. Everything inside the quotation is valid CSS. So you simply type in whatever CSS styling you want to add to this element. So in this case, we've got font set to 20 pixels. That's our CSS declaration. And you simply use a semicolon to terminate or to end that, and then make your next declaration. Right, so let's set the font weight to bold and end that with a semicolon. So as long as you remember that everything in the style attribute, the value of the style attribute is all valid CSS. So whatever works in CSS will work within the style attribute. On to the last point, so imported style sheets. I did show you how to import our style sheet, which was with a link HTML element, an empty element. Using this href attribute, we define the path to our CSS file, right? Now, what if we have multiple CSS? We can actually also import a second one, a third one, as many as we would like to import. And the same rule applies. So CSS is read from top to bottom. In this case, the first so because HTML is also read from top to bottom, what that means is that this link HTML element will get read before this second link HTML element, meaning that the intro.css gets read first before the second.css. So as an example, this body CSS declaration in the intro.css with the color of red, if we actually add another body CSS declaration in the second.css with a color of blue, this declaration will actually override this initial declaration because second.css gets read after intro.css. And so that styling overrides the previous styling. Let's remove all of this so that we can clearly see the font color. Now, if I open the HTML file in the browser and scroll down, you can clearly see that the font has turned blue. And that's because of this declaration in the second.css, right? So if we remove that and save and refresh, it's turned back to red. The second.css file gets imported after the intro.css, meaning it gets read after the intro.css. Okay, so CSS gets read from top to bottom, and the imports of the CSS files gets read from top to bottom. Okay, so just be mindful of that when you've got multiple CSS files, as you may happen to override some of your your CSS styling declarations. All right, and that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.